Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me or if you're even there. We are here to talk about Disney, so come and join us here. We will talk about Run Disney and show you medals galore. If you are not standing, then maybe you're on the floor. Hey, howdy, hi. How's everyone doing? You guys doing good? I feel bad for the people who like watch these videos afterwards because I don't think they understand that I'm just like killing time right now until people show up. This is the 50th anniversary hat. This was the one that they had for one day and one day only. Maybe it was 2 days, but it sold out within the first 24 hours. Today we're going to be doing a recap of this past weekend's Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. So spread the word, share with a friend or 5 or 17, and we will go through and do a recap and also answer your questions and all that other fun stuff because it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully. Not as exhausting either. 48.6 miles is a long time. A long time ago. I can still remember. So we'll give people a few more seconds here to get on. I feel I felt pretty good even on Sunday. I felt sore, but I didn't feel exhausted. Granted, that night I think I slept 14. No, was that day or I slept 14 hours one day with going to the restroom and stuff. So yeah, I was more tired. My body didn't hurt that bad. I was a little bit stiff after the marathon, but I wasn't as bad as I've been in the past after marathons. So I felt pretty lucky that I didn't get as affected as I have in the past. And I'm sure, well, even on Monday, we went to Magic Kingdom and we counted 7 people who were wearing their dopey medals that were also being pushed around in wheelchairs by their friends. I've never been that bad after a marathon where I needed a wheelchair. I did break. I don't think I broke it. Maybe I broke it. I don't even remember. During the second Expedition Everest challenge, it wasn't even during the challenge. I was walking up to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad with my friend Kyle, who was my roommate in my college program. Him and I came down and this was when I was still living in Wisconsin. We came down here together and we did the Expedition Everest challenge together. And when we were a few days before the park, we were walking up to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and I was like, oh, my foot all of a sudden just hurt. And it was like a weird pain. And I think it was a sprain or something or another. And it was pretty painful. But I've never really been injured running, which, knock on wood. How much training do we do? We're gonna get to that in just a little bit here when we're gonna start going through. We'll actually start with that since that question's out there. Now it's been a few minutes, so let's get this part started. We're gonna start the 647th episode of the Wednesday Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 647th episode of the Wednesday Show. Today is January 12th, 2022, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today, we're going to be doing a recap of the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, which happened just this past weekend, where I ran all 4 races, aka I did the Dopey Challenge. But of course, before we get to that, let's talk about our news for the week. First off, I would like to apologize. I promised you guys we'd be doing a broadcast on Saturday, and I don't even remember. Oh, I was at Animal Kingdom on Saturday, and I ran into someone that I used to work with, and then I had to go because my food was ready. And I was at the park for maybe a total of 45 minutes, if that. So we will be doing a broadcast on this Saturday for sure, and maybe we'll do a surprise broadcast both on YouTube and the From Screen to Theme Facebook page sometime over the next few days as well here. just to give you guys a little bit of Disney magic. Speaking of about a little bit of Disney magic, if you guys have not already been joining us every single day right here, if you're watching on YouTube, right on the YouTube channel, we have been doing a live, or not a live video, but we've been doing a video every single day for the last, it's been almost 100 days now, which is insane. It was October 7th was the very first day that we had it. I think today was day number 98. So we're 2 days away from number 100, and then we might take a few days off, but I keep on saying that, and then we just keep on going strong. So make sure you keep on joining us every single day for our videos over on YouTube. I'm having a blast making them. Tomorrow will be a ride-along for a video, or for an attraction that I've never seen a video ride-along for. So make sure you join that. Check that out tomorrow as well. And of course, as always, today's show, wait, I did this. It's sponsored by It's All About the Mouse Travel. What? Make sure you check out It's All About the Mouse Travel for all of your Disney travel needs. All their services are absolutely, positively, 100% free. So make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. All right. So as I have said a few times, and as a lot of you guys have been following along over the last week, it was actually a week ago right now, we did a 30-minute episode of the Wednesday show because I had to wake up early the following day for the 5K. So let's talk a lot a bit about this past weekend, because this past weekend has been crazy. It's been fun. I've been having so much fun for it. So let's get the party started. If you guys have any questions about the Run Disney weekend, start throwing those questions into the comments, whether you're on Facebook or on the YouTube channel, and we're going to go through as many questions as possible while we also do a recap of the entire weekend here as well. So let's get off with Barb's question here. How much training do you do for the races? Not a lot. Now, what I will say is, one, I highly recommend not doing much training for the races. I really don't do much training at all. I was talking to a few people that were not my friends during the full marathon, and they were like, can you believe there's people who actually think that like they don't do any training? I'm like, I try to run like a 5K every week, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. But I try to do a little bit of a run at least once a week. But like I said, a lot of times it just doesn't happen. My life is extremely hectic, so I don't always get the time to train. However, with that being said, one of the reasons why I know I can do dopey opposed to other people who don't do a full-out training is due to the fact that I am on my feet for about 14 to 15 hours every single day. Every single day I am at the parks, and when I'm not at the parks and I'm working, I am at a job where I am on my feet the majority of the day as well. So I do put in approximately anywhere between 8 miles to about 15 miles every single day. So because of that, that helps me in the long run opposed to other people. My friends who were training a little bit more than I was, at the end, they were more exhausted than I was. And I think a big part of that was just because I am so used to just constantly being on my feet, constantly being on the go, that when I go through and do these races, it doesn't really affect me as much as it affects a lot of other people. And if you have the opportunity to do one of these races, 100% take it. I absolutely love Run Disney, not just the marathon weekend. All their weekends are just so much fun. But if you have the opportunity to take it, but also train, because I'm crazy and I don't train as much as I really should be training for these things. All right, let's go to our next question here before we start going into the weekend stuff here. Which of the 4 marathons was your favorite? So the 4 races this weekend. Okay, so first off, I will point this out because a lot of people, I pointed this out to people at work. A marathon is only one distance. A marathon is 26.2 miles. That's the only thing that a marathon is. So it's which of the 4 races. There is a guy who I used to work with who always insisted that any race was a marathon. And I was like, no, it's not. Finally, he did a 5K, and he's like, so that was a marathon. I was like, no, don't say that to people who've done a marathon, because some of the very serious runners will be like, no. So 5K is 3.1 miles, 10K is 6.2 miles, half marathon is 13.1 miles, and the full marathon is 26.2 miles. Altogether, it equals up to 48.6 miles for the weekend. Out of the 4 races, which one is my favorite? That's a really tough question. We'll go through because there's different aspects of each one that I really like. For the 5K, I like the fact that you're in the park the majority of the time, like almost the entire race, you're inside of Epcot. So I really like the 5K for that factor. For the 10K, I like the course that they did this year because the first 3 miles you're not in a park, which is like when you still have a lot of energy. And then when you start having that energy diminish, you enter into studios and then you make your way over to Epcot. And I really like that part as well. And then for the half, running through the castle, I mean, that's just one of the coolest things in the world. However, the half marathon is my least favorite of the courses. And we'll get into that when we go through the recaps. And then the marathon is just insanity. The fact that you run 26.2 miles. I really do like the marathon course. I think I might like it the best because you do go through all 4 parks. And actually, you go through Epcot twice. So you kind of go through 5 parks. And you also go through the Blizzard Beach parking lot. So almost 6 parks. But we'll go into all of those races in a little bit more detail as we go through here as well. We'll see if there's any other questions before we go through. Okay. That's last question. How are you still alive? Well, I'm still breathing, so that's all that really matters. Okay, so let's start doing recaps. As you guys have questions, feel free to throw those questions in. We will be showing you guys the medals along with the special surprise that they give you at the end of the marathon. But we went through the shirts last week, so we're not going to go through the shirts. Plus, they're all dirty right now, so they're in the laundry with the exception of the half marathon shirt, which I'm wearing right now. So when you do the Dopey Challenge, you do get 2 different bibs, even though it's the same number and all that other stuff. This one right here is for the 5K and 10K. You wear those for those 2 races. And then you wear this one for the half marathon and full marathon. As you can see, this one looks like it's a lot better shape than this one. That's because this only went through 9.3 miles, while this went through 39.3 miles. So that's a lot more tattered and damaged than the other one. So on Thursday, shortly after we finished the show last Wednesday, was the 5K for the marathon weekend. Now the 5K course it's a 3.1 mile course. If you've ever done one of the Run Disney races, and let me know in the comments, has anyone out there ever done a Run Disney race before? I could go on and on about Run Disney. I absolutely love Run Disney. It is one of my favorite aspects of Disney, and that's not even like a joke. That's like, I love Run Disney. If you've ever done one of the 5Ks for Run Disney, the majority of the Run Disney 5Ks have taken place in Epcot. Like almost every single race weekend, you are in Epcot for the 5K. There have been a few exceptions throughout the years. They used to have Mickey's Jingle Jungle 5K, which used to be over at Animal Kingdom. And they used to also have the Expedition Everest Challenge, which they're bringing back in the spring. And that was over at Animal Kingdom as well. However, all the other courses for Princess Marathon, it's always inside of Epcot. The Star Wars one was inside of Epcot, which is always kind of odd because it's Star Wars and not over at Studios. And then obviously for the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, it's in Epcot as well. So you start inside of the Epcot parking lot, you run around the edge of the parking lot until eventually you enter backstage, kind of near where Test Track is. So you run underneath Test Track, which is really cool because it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's really dark. So you just kind of see the blue lights going. And then you enter over by the Mexico Pavilion. And after you enter into the Mexico Pavilion, you take a left and you continue running down around World Showcase until eventually you get to Morocco. You go backstage of Morocco over by Ratatouille. You enter back in over by Ratatouille. And then you exit out by, what's it called? International Gateway, and then you kind of swing around. You enter by the UK. You go down past Canada, down the center section of, or no, you don't. You go past the Starbucks, and then you make your way around by Imagination Pavilion, the Land Pavilion, Caesar Pavilion, Spaceship Earth, and then you eventually make your way to the finish line. Overall, a great course. During this weekend, I did make a goal of myself that I was going to meet every single character that I could, and hopefully every character along the way. I did achieve meeting every character except for one. And the only reason I skipped that one was because I was like, it's not that great of a character. But here, let's go through the ones for the 5K real quick here. That is me with Pinocchio. Which way are we going? We're going that way. There's a Boo. Lumiere and Cogsworth. My friend Frank Lumiere and Cogsworth. Joy. And I think that's just going to be another Joy, with the four of us. So after you complete the 5K, you get your first medal of the weekend. The first medal of the weekend is our 5K medal. If you guys saw my comments that I posted over on my Instagram / on Facebook, I did say that this is probably my favorite 5K medal ever. I think that's probably true for the 10K half and full as well. I think these are the 6 medals that I cherish them. I think they're gorgeous medals. So first off, up here, the 5K, that spins around. So on the other side, it says Walt Disney World 50th. And then on the other side, you see Pluto as well. And if you look up here, you can see, maybe you can't see because I can't see it. If found, please return to Mickey Mouse. So this is actually a replica of Pluto's actual collar. And on the back side of the collar, it always says that. So if you ever do a meet and greet with Pluto, check out his collar. It actually says, if lost, please return to Mickey Mouse. But I think it's probably just such look at Pluto. He's so cute. And I like his little bib that says Walt Disney World down there. But that's the 5K medal. Okay, let's go to the questions here. It looks like we might have some questions here. Out of all the medals you've gotten over all your races, which is your favorite? These 6 have really skyrocketed towards the top. I don't know if they are my top 6. The only one that might rival them is my 50th medal, which was the Castle to Chateau medal. The Castle to Chateau medal was the one that I earned for running a race here in the U.S. at one of the Disney parks, and then running a race over in Paris, France, at the Disneyland Paris. That was the very first one that they ever did back in 2016, 17, somewhere around there. Maybe 18. I don't think it was that long ago or that close. But somewhere around there, I had that, and that might be my favorite medal. But these ones really went up in my book. Okay, any other questions here? Where's your hat from? People are all asking about the hat. That hat was one of the 50th anniversary merchandise drops. This was the very first 50th anniversary drop that they did back in, I think it was August. Eric's done the Castaway Key 5K. Who is not that great of a character? Everyone's a great character. Who's not? For the thing. So the character, the only character I skipped. Before we get, because that was at the half marathon, but we'll talk about it right now since the question's out there. When I did the half marathon, my only rule for the weekend was I'm going to stop for every character unless my time is falling really far behind and I'm afraid that I might get swept. Now, side note, for those of you guys who don't know the lingo, if you're not maintaining a 16-minute mile pace from the very last person to cross the starting line, you do get swept off the course. So they put you on a bus, they take you to the finish line, and that's never happened to me. It's one of those things that even if it does happen, it's not like Disney does a really good job, from what I've heard, of making sure that you don't feel like, you lost a race. They make you feel like they always say that you're doing more just by showing up and starting than half the people at home are doing. So I'm sure that that's kind of how they celebrate you too, if you do that, because you might not finish, but at the same time, it's still a huge accomplishment, even just attempting to do these things. But anyways, So if I was going to getting close to getting swept, I would have skipped characters, or if it was a character that I had seen a day before. So for instance, on the marathon, Stitch was there, but I didn't see Stitch. He was backstage. I skipped Stitch because I had seen Stitch the day before, and then I got really upset because afterwards, I just found out like earlier today that the Stitch that they had on the marathon was him in his spacesuit. So I wish I would have known that, but they were, Stitch was backstage, so I didn't get a chance to see him. If I saw him in that costume, I would have been like, oh yeah, I'm waiting for Stitch. Another character that I skipped because I had seen the day before was, who was the, Woody and Jesse, or no, Woody and Bo Peep. I saw them 2 different days. So I was like, okay, I saw them the first day, but the only one that I skipped because just for the sake of skipping was the penguins from Mary Poppins, because the line was really long and it was a penguin. And I was like, I'm going to skip this. Cause in my mind at that point, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to meet every character. So it's okay if I skip a character or 2. And then it ends up that was the only character I missed, with the exception of Bullseye from Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4. I missed Bullseye, and the only reason I missed Bullseye was he was right around mile 20, 21. I got to his line, and he wasn't out. And I asked the character attendant, I said, who's this line for? And they said, Bullseye. I was like, oh, great. And they said, yeah, he'll be out here in like 6 to 8 minutes. I was like, what? So I waited for 2 minutes thinking maybe the lady was like over exaggerating. And after 2 minutes, I was like, I can't risk standing here for 8 minutes, because this was like closer to the end of the race. And I could not take the risk of waiting for 6 to 8 minutes for a character that might take a little bit longer to get out too. Because what if it was longer than 8 minutes? What if it was like 15? And then all of a sudden that's the pace of 1 mile that yeah. So the only character that I skipped intentionally was the penguin from Mary Poppins. Let's see here. I love that the 5K medal isn't a plastic one anymore. Me too. That always drove me crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the 10K. Now, the 10K course, if you guys have ever done the 10K during Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, it did switch up a little bit this year compared to what it's been in the past. But what they did this year is usually what you do is you run around Epcot, you run through Epcot, you run down the boardwalk past the Yacht Club and Beach Club, and then you make your way back into Epcot and continue on your way. And the first like 2-3 miles are outside of Epcot. So it's kind of it's a nice course, but it's not a great course. They switched it up this year. So you start in the same spot as you always do, but instead of running out and then turning around, you run out and you just keep on running. So you keep on running until eventually you make your way over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and you run down Sunset Boulevard. And then did we go on Hollywood Boulevard that time? Yeah, we did. We went down Sunset Boulevard, and then we took a left and we went down Hollywood Boulevard. And then you run along the pathway between Studios and Epcot. Eventually make your way into Epcot, run around, not around the World Showcase, but you just kind of go to Future World area and make your way to the exit. And after you finish that one, you get your 10K medal. 10K medal features Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. This is, I think, the second or third time that they've had Oswald as one of the medals. He does move back and forth. What? Which is really cool. And then on the back side, we've got him there, and he's holding up a medal as well. And it also says Oswald the Lucky Rabbit right there as well, along with Spaceship Earth. So overall, really cool medal. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit is a great character to meet. Let's take a look at I can't remember the characters. I met so many characters this week that I really am drawing a blank on who all the characters were that I met. Okay, so we have, some of these are going to be really tough to see. That's Alice. That's still Alice. Peter Pan and Wendy. Rafiki. There's Bo Peep. Woody, along with Forky. I don't know if you can see that very well in that picture, but he's holding on to Forky. Originally, it was Buzz Lightyear, and then they swapped out. I was in line for Buzz Lightyear, and then they're like, oh, but now it's going to be Woody and Forky instead. There's Judy Hopps from Zootopia. Jake and the Neverland Pirates. So side note, there was 4 of us that were running these races. It was me, my friend Frank, who's ran pretty much most of the Run Disney races with me over the last 4 or 5 years, and then our friend Tim, or his son Timothy. This was his first marathon ever. / this was his first Dopey Challenge, obviously too, because it was his first marathon. And then our friend Daniel. Daniel's a lot faster than us. So Daniel would be up ahead, and I told Daniel his one job and one job only in these races was to have it so he would text me where the characters were and who the characters were. So that way I would know if I had to push myself to the next mile, because some of these character lines get really long. If you've never done these races, like so for the Mickey, which we're going to talk about in the half marathon, when it came to the Mickey's line was probably about 70 to 80 people long, which is a long line. It started by Hall of Presidents and went all the way across the bridge towards Cinderella Castle. So a very long line to meet Mickey. So my main thought was I want him to kind of keep texting me and letting me know who the characters are, where they are, so that way I can push myself to get into that line quicker, and then I have a rest. He had no idea who this was. So he sent a picture and he goes, this guy right here, he's over by the beach club or the Swan and Dolphin. I don't know who it is. And he just sent me like a blurry picture. He's like, I don't know who this is, but that guy's over there. I was like, that's Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Come on, how dare you? After that, we had Coda, who I famously killed here on the Wednesday show. And I think, is that the last one? Oh, no, of course, Winnie the Pooh. And actually, my friend Frank joined me. That's when he finally caught up to me, was at Winnie the Pooh. So that was the 10K. Let's keep on going through. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Love that hat. Everyone's talking about the hat. I've worn this hat before. I did the sit on the couch 5K. Good for you. Favorite medal you got this week was Mickey. Skipping. Did you do any skipping instead of running? I skipped a little bit during the first mile as a joke. But if you guys watched our crazy challenge 2 years ago, my friends Daniel and Jessica, the 3 of us did the Dopey challenge together, and we had a high five everyone. This is before COVID. We had to high five people at every mile. So we had to have like 50 high fives throughout the whole race weekend. We had to skip one entire mile, which was ridiculous. That was my idea. And it was probably the stupidest idea I've ever come up with in my entire life. And then we had a lot of different challenges. We had to meet like 50 characters and tons of different things that we had to do. This time around, I said, let's just focus on doing these races, finishing these races, and having fun during these races. What was the longest you waited for a character? The longest was Mickey. And then probably after Mickey, it was probably that Goofy line wasn't too bad. Oh, Sebastian was really long. Sebastian was a long line. I got to know the person behind me. We were kind of talking about characters, and they were very concerned about who was coming up, and they were asking the character attendant. Now, the character attendants on the course, they don't know who's all on the course. They just know like the character before them and after them, and that's about it. So they don't really know like, oh, like if you go to mile 12, it's this person, blah, blah, blah. So the people who were behind me, they were saying, oh, we don't like who's next. And he goes, oh, I know that next up is going to be Colonial Mickey, but I'm not sure who else is coming up after that. And I was like, haha, my friend Daniel's really far ahead. These are the next 17 characters. So Sebastian was number 2, the second longest, while Mickey was probably the longest. Both of them were during the half, I believe. How do they watch the people to get swept? So they have like medical people behind the last people. So if you're not keeping up with the pace, there are also unofficial timers. They are known as the balloon ladies. The balloon ladies are the unofficial timers. They make sure they are the last people to cross the starting line. And what they do is they cross the starting line and then they just stay at that 16-minute mile pace the entire time. So if you stay ahead of them, you're good. The balloon ladies, I feel bad for them because everyone's like, watch out for the balloon ladies. Fun fact, when I was leaving Animal Kingdom during the marathon this time, there's a part of the course where, and we'll talk more about the course, but you go into the Animal Kingdom, you go around, and then you exit out from where you entered. So you're passing the people who are coming into the park while you're exiting. While I was exiting, there's a water stop there. I was walking to the water stop, drinking my water, and then across the way, I saw the balloon ladies, but they're like about 3.5 miles behind me. So I knew I had 3.5 mile gap between me and them. So I felt fine. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Are these PhotoPass pictures or a friend taking them on your phone? So they're all my phone pictures. I would have it so I would have the character attendant. So at each single spot, there was usually 2 character attendants and 1 PhotoPass person. So the PhotoPass person would take a picture, and then the characters or the character attendants would take pictures with your phones if you wanted to. So we would keep on going through and just kind of, hand your phone to the thing. And then you also have the professional picture too. But the PhotoPass one, because there's so many people to go through, I'm still getting some pictures now from a few days ago that are still popping up. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I like to post pictures a lot. So I want to make sure that I have pictures so I can post right away. How long did you wait for Mickey? My wait for Mickey was probably about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I want to say about 10 minutes though. Probably about 10 minutes. Could be wrong, but I that's my guess. It's about 10 minutes. All right, let's talk a little bit about the half marathon, and we'll continue going to your questions as soon as we finish talking about the half marathon, because there's a lot of questions coming in. So keep on throwing those questions in. We're going to answer as many questions as possible as we go through here. We're going to answer all your questions. So the half marathon course, again, you start at Epcot, but you actually start outside of Epcot on the Epcot Drive. So you're like out in the middle of the road. When you get to the half marathon, there is roughly about 10 to 15,000 people who are running it. So much bigger crowds, much bigger corrals, a lot more people who are crazy, just like you, who are going to go run 13.1 miles. So the course for this one is really simple. You go down Epcot Drive, you go down you go down World Drive, which is the road that takes you to the Magic Kingdom Auto Plaza. You go through the Magic Kingdom parking lot. Eventually, you make your way into the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then you run down the road past the Contemporary, and then you go into the bus loop for Magic Kingdom, and you run down Main Street USA. You take a right, you go through Tomorrowland, you take a left, you go around New Fantasyland area. I don't even know why are we still calling it New Fantasyland? It's been 10 years. But anyways, you go through New Fantasyland, then you run into Main Fantasyland, you enter through the castle, take a right, you go into Liberty Square, then through Frontierland, and then you go backstage behind Splash Mountain. You run out onto the road where Grand Floridian is. I think it's called Grand Floridian something or another. I always forget the name of the road. And then you go past Grand Floridian, Polynesian, the Magic Kingdom parking lot, the Speedway gas station, and then you just run for like 4 miles. It's the most boring thing in the world. I absolutely hate it. It's my least favorite part of any Run Disney race, is that 4 mile gap from when you leave the Magic Kingdom and when you get past like Polynesian. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing going on. It is so dull and so boring, and I despise it. Every single time I'm on it, I just hate it. It's my least favorite thing about Run Disney. But at the same time, it's the only way we can get to the castle, so I accept it as what it is. Eventually, you make your way back onto Epcot Drive, and then you make your way into Epcot. You run around the Land Pavilion through backstage. You run around you enter over by Journey into Imagination, and then you eventually make your way into the park, past Spaceship Earth, and then to the entrance or to the exit of the park, and you end up at the finish line. When you finish the half marathon, you get this beauty, which I love this medal. This was the 25th anniversary of the half marathon. So if you look at the top there, it does say 25 years running at the top. 2022 half marathon, 13.1 miles. This one we have Donald on the front, with a little 50th there. And then on the back side, we have Daisy with her little bib. Oh, I mean, such a great medal. Absolutely, I love these medals. Like these medals are just so cool. It's got that iridescent glow about it too. Okay, let's go through the characters that we met during the half marathon here. If I can remember. Oh, forgot my password. Okay. So first up, we had Mary Poppins and Bert, and then right after that, I skipped the penguin. Ooh. Oh, that's not what we wanted. We want Tinkerbell along with, what's her name again? I knew it during the race. Now I can't think of it. Silver Mist? That's Silver Mist? This is always one of my favorite parts, running into the Magic Kingdom Auto Plaza area. As you can see, I'm very happy about it. Yay, look at where I'm at. That we had Nick Wilde. I did skip Judy Hopps because I had met her the day before. And then eventually the castle, the castle, the castle, the castle, the castle. Some lady saw me struggling to take a selfie, and she's like, I'll take your picture if you take mine. I was like, okay. After that, we had Buzz Lightyear over at Tomorrowland. This one's really tough to see because the camera flash went off for the PhotoPass person at the same time they were taking my picture. But that is the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. There is Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. And then I took this picture while I was waiting to meet Mickey. Look how pretty. What? I took that picture and I was like, wow, that looks like, one of my high quality photos. And then there was Mickey. Colonial Mickey, which I absolutely loved meeting Colonial Mickey. That was a highlight of the race. Jafar. So, side note, there's one guy who last time when I was meeting Hades, he kept on saying, we're not taking anyone's phones throughout the whole race. You have to take your own selfies. And I'm like, they're doing it at all the other character spots. What are you talking about? Same guy was there for Jafar. And he's like, just let you know, we're not doing it. And I was like, no, you can't. And he's like, no one's doing it. I'm like, okay. I know for a fact they are because I've stopped at every character spot so far. Next up, we had Horace Horsecollar. We're going to have to switch over here real quick to my professional pictures by Disney because they also had Clarabelle Cow, and my phone, I run with chargers in my pocket just in case I run out of things, and my phone ran out of juice literally right when I was meeting Clarabelle. So there's the PhotoPass person, or photo with me and Clarabelle. And then let's go back to my other pictures here. Where were we? That's not them. Did I just delete? No, I didn't. Okay. There we go. Then we had Lilo on the course. It's been a long time since I've seen Lilo, so I was very excited about that one. Right after Lilo, it was Stitch. Then we had Thumper entering into, this was the backstage at Epcot here. And then Bolt was over by Club Cool. I like that one because it looks like he's like putting his hand on my shoulder. And then this one I was so excited about because that is Wilbur from Meet the Robinsons there. I have never met Wilbur. I think that is the only character during this race weekend that I had never met before. And I was so excited about meeting Wilbur. Okay. I showed you that medal. Okay, let's go to more questions in the comments here. Being a balloon lady sounds like an interesting job. So the thing about being a balloon lady is the balloon ladies, a lot of people think that they're hired by Disney. They're not. They're regular people like you and I who just sign up for the races and then they stay as far back as possible so that way people can see them as a pacer. As a side note, I've always thought it'd be really funny and really evil at the same time to run with balloons and just like sprint towards people and just watch people like, they're coming for me. Um, I think it would be really funny, but at the same time, it would be really, really evil. I love when you said I can't do math right now, so I can't say how many miles are left. Yeah, that happened a few times during the races. Do you run quickly? No, you're hired. Oh yeah, that was at mile 8, and I was like, oh, I've only got what was it? I thought I had 16 miles left, and then I was like, oh wait, no, it's 18 miles. That's even longer. Why don't they have any characters on that stretch? So the characters that they do have on that stretch is they had Tinkerbell on that stretch, and they also had someone else, whoever the character before Tinkerbell was. But it's a very boring stretch. It's a very long stretch, going from there to the other. The long stretch starts with Lilo and Stitch. I was like, okay, like at least we got 2 characters right off the bat, and then there's like nothing. You can meet Tinkerbell and Silver Mist on the way back. However, the problem with that is you're taking a risk that the line might be longer on the way back than it was on the way in. So because of that, I usually try to hit the characters on the way in, and then on the way back, it's yeah. Okay, let's go to more questions here. Are they only in the actual parks? No. So the majority of these characters are actually not in the parks at all, which is great, especially when you're going through and when you're going through later in the courses. It's when you get into like when I get to Epcot or when you get to the parks for like the parks are like open for regular guests. So it would be more difficult for them to kind of keep people away from the characters because the characters are there for the runners. So because of that, they avoid it. Hi, Mrs. Joyce. Everyone say hi, Mrs. Joyce. Hey. I've always wanted to do a Run Disney. Any tips for newbies? Take your time. There's no reason to rush. Enjoy it. The majority of the people who run the Run Disney races are probably... The nice thing about Run Disney races compared to like other races is when you do a Run Disney race, the Run Disney races are specifically not supposed to be like these big like competitions. If you do races outside of Disney, it's ridiculous. I'm so slow to a lot of those people because they all take it way too seriously. And I'm just like, I'm just here to have a fun time. At Disney, it's a fun time. All right, let's talk about the full marathon. So the full marathon, the course changed up 2 years ago, and let's talk a little bit about the new course now. So the new course has it so you start off again on Epcot Drive in front of Epcot. You run into Epcot, and it takes like 2 to 3 miles to get into Epcot. But you run 2 to 3 miles to get into Epcot. You enter over again behind like the Land Pavilion, the Seas Pavilion, Imagination Pavilion, etc., etc., etc. You enter in over by the Journey into Imagination with Figment. You go down and you enter kind of near where World Showcase begins, but not quite. And you go past Mexico, and then you exit right away. And then you exit and go past the starting line once again. And right when you pass that point, you're about 4 miles into the race. And it's kind of it's not the best feeling because you're like, oh, I've already ran 4 miles and I'm still here. I'm still at the same spot where I started. After you do that, you run back down towards Magic Kingdom. You run almost the exact same thing, except for instead of entering through the turnstiles, you actually enter in through backstage over by where the Town Square Theater is. And you run down Main Street, you go to Tomorrowland, and then you run through regular Fantasyland this time, not through New Fantasyland. And then you enter or go through the castle, take a right, go through Liberty Square, and then eventually make your way into Frontierland. And then you exit, and then you start running down that way until you get to the Speedway gas station, and you take a right there or right before there, and you go down Bear Island Road, which eventually takes you to the backstage of Disney's Animal Kingdom. When you get to Animal Kingdom, you run in by going through by like the conservation station, which is really cool. You take a right into Africa, and you just kind of run a little bit into Africa. You take a left to do that little path that connects Africa and Asia. You go past the Tree of Life, which is one of my favorite parts. And then after that, you go past Asia, Expedition Everest, and then you eventually make your way into Dinoland USA. You run through Dinoland USA, and then you eventually exit the park through that backstage door that's in the back section of Dinoland USA. And then you go behind Expedition Everest. If you watch my YouTube video, then you've seen that video where I'm like, ooh, this is the backside of Expedition Everest. And then you eventually enter or you exit the area by going right past where you entered in. Like I was talking about earlier, you take a right and you go down the longest drive in the possible thing. This is the part that always kills me. It's about 2 miles of nothing. This is where I waited for Bullseye for a little bit, and then I abandoned hope. I met Jesse there, and I think that was it. And then you take a right, you go down towards Winter Summerland Miniature Golf Course, and then you go into the Blizzard Beach parking lot. You run around that area, and then you exit. You go to Studios. You run down a little bit of Sunset Boulevard, but not a whole lot. You run past Fantasmic, past Tower of Terror, and then right after Beauty and the Beast live on stage, you take a left and you exit through backstage. You run on the path between Studios and Epcot. And then I always say it's like a victory lap, because when you go into Epcot, you run around all World Showcase, which at that point it's like, oh, but at the same time, it's really cool because it's like your victory lap. You're going around the world to finish up the race. And then you eventually make your way into Future World area-ish. And then you exit by Test Track and you run backstage a little bit until eventually you get to the finish line. I did have a few people who wrote to me the other day about getting emotional. So during the half, I don't really get that emotional. During the full, yeah. When you're like 40 miles in and you're just like so drained from energy for the last 4 days of running, your emotions start running high. It's just something that happens. I teared up a little bit entering onto Main Street USA during the full, and I also tear up every time without fail. I don't know why, but every time without fail running to Studios, and I just think it's the fact that I know that I'm going to finish. That I start going around like, I got this. Thank God I'm wearing sunglasses today. So after finishing the full, you get the Marathon Medal. Walt Disney World Marathon. We have Mickey on one side. On the other side, we have Minnie Mouse as well. Minnie Mouse has the 50th anniversary logo there. Mickey's got the 50th logo. I thought one of them had a castle. Only she's got the logo on the castle. But in addition to doing that, if you do just the half marathon, if you do not selling it short, if you do the half marathon and the full marathon, which is a massive accomplishment in itself, then that is completing the Goofy Challenge. Oh, and these medals are tangled up. No. There we go. So the Goofy Challenge, which is called Goofy's Race and a Half Challenge. It's got Goofy on the front. Goofy does spin around in circles. So she's Goofy like that. On the back side of it, we do have Goofy with his medals there as well. He's got 3 medals. The one says 50. This one right here says 13.1. And then this one right here says 26.2. I'm sorry. No, just the one. I'm sorry. Just the medal. 39.3, and then the other one says 50. And then if you do all 4 races, is considered the Dopey Challenge. And the Dopey Challenge gives you this beauty right here. This is it's a spring, so you can make Dopey dance a little. One thing I love about this is we got the 4 park icons in the back: Cinderella Castle, Spaceship Earth, Tower of Terror, and Tree of Life. Along the side here, we've got the mileages. So we have 3.1, 48.6, 26.2, 13.1, and 6.2. And then on the back side, I love the back side of this medal. I think this might be my favorite part of all the medals. We have Dopey here with 6 medals because you earned 6 medals, but the medals here have it so it's 26.2, which is upside down. 3.1, 13.1, and then the 6.2, and then he's got the other 2 medals over his eyes there. And that's the Dopey. Let's go through the characters that we have for that one, and then we're gonna wrap up the show with any other questions that you guys might have. Okay, where are other characters pictures here? Okay, so for the full marathon, these are our characters that we had. We had Pluto was the very first one. I was very happy to have Pluto be the first character that we had there. Next one was the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. Mad Hatter. Then we have Jiminy Cricket. Hi, folks. It's me, Jimmy the Cricket. My roommate on my college program thought that his name was Jimmy the Cricket, not Jiminy Cricket. We had Phineas there. I got lucky because I thought it was Phineas during the day or the early part, and then Ferb later on. It ends up that they kept on switching out, and I just happened to get Phineas now and Ferb later on. So I got lucky because you passed the same spot twice. The other time you passed it is like 6 hours later. Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. That's not what we wanted. Our next one there was Gus Gus. Everyone wanted to meet Jock. They kept on waiting because they kept on switching out. Everyone kept on waiting for Jock. I'm like, I'd rather meet Gus Gus. Susie and or Perla. I always forget which one's which. Also from Cinderella. It's my neck. I don't know why I took that picture. We have Mrs. Incredible along with Edna Mode from The Incredibles. Next up was Frozone. The castle. Yay. Every time I run down there, I have to take a picture of me in the castle. Oh, this might have been this was a contender for longest character meeting read. Dopey. Literally every person that was in that line had a Dopey bib on, I feel like. There was a few that didn't, but the majority of people had a Dopey bib on. This one I was surprised did not have as long of a line. But this right here is Colonial Goofy. And then we're going to zoom in because we have Panchito from the Three Caballeros and Jose Carioca from the Three Caballeros. That's the 3 of us all together. After that, we had Daisy Duck. Now that I think about it, so I met Mickey, colonial version. I met Goofy, Pluto, Daisy. We're getting to Donald. Minnie was the only character who I didn't meet, but I didn't see her out in the course at all. Over by the Grand Floridian, this was Piglet and Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh. And then we have Tigger, also Winnie the Pooh. And I love this one because no one had any idea who this was except for me. It's Friar Tuck from Robin Hood. My friend called me up and he's like, so the 4 of us, because my friend Frank and his son ran together, but we kept a text message chain because we were all in different spots, so we could kind of keep up to date on where people were, make sure everyone was okay, etc., etc., etc. And I called my friend Frank, and he was getting up to Friar Tuck. He's like, yeah, I'm near brother Paul. I don't know what his name is. Joe, Jimmy, John. He had no idea. I was like, do you know what movie he's from? He's like, Robin Hood. I was like, okay, it helps. After that, we actually had Robin Hood, Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say. Timon, a lot of people have been asking me, that is the train for Rafiki's Wild Watch in the background, the conservation station. After Timon, oh, there's me with the Tree of Life. Yay! My hand was, I touched the lens right before this, so that picture came out really blurry. Plus, Russell and Carl Fredrickson had 0 people in, like literally 0. I was the only person that was there. Just as you exited Animal Kingdom, we had Baloo from the Jungle Book, and then Jessie from the Toy Story films, Chip and Dale in their iridescent vest. The guy who took this picture did not do a good job, and he had yelled at the cast member right before him. I was going to complain, actually. It made me feel uncomfortable. I felt bad for her. And then we had Olaf. Do you want to build a snowman? And here's where we met Donald in his racing gear. And then I think we only have one more character. There's me with Spaceship Earth. And then Ferb. Said, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today. Something stupid, like run 26.2 miles. And that brings us to, let's go to our questions here. Yay. When is your next race? My next race is in about a month and a half. It's going to be the Princess Half Marathon. I'm doing the 5K, 10K, and a half, the 3 races. Do you get anything special if you finish first? Yes, you do. You get lots of money. Now, I don't know if you, but I've heard that you get a little bit of money, and then like a special trophy. Also, one thing I forgot to add, and I have it right here in front of me, is if you finish the marathon, and they started this about, I want to say it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, because I haven't gotten every single year, but I've gotten the majority of the years that I've done the full. But you get your own Mickey ears. So on there it says 2002 Walt Disney World Marathon Finisher. Pretty darn cool. And they come up with different designs every single year. I got my other ones kind of scattered around throughout the condo here. But I really like the ears. I think that's a really cool touch. Is getting the ears. Will one of your crazy challenges ever be finish the race in first place? That's not called a crazy challenge. It's called Death Wish. There's no way. There is no way on earth I would ever be. Oh, well, okay. Wait. I take it back. I think the only one I ever have a chance at getting first place in is Expedition Everest Challenge, because one year I got 11th place, or maybe it was 7th place, somewhere around there. The Expedition Everest Challenge, which is coming back, I think I might actually train for because of the chance that I could get it. It's a 5K followed by a scavenger hunt throughout Disney's Animal Kingdom. When I got, I want to say it was 11th place the one year. It was 11 or 7. I just remember it was one of those two numbers. When I got almost first, I was like way back in the 5K time. Like I did not do well on the 5K time. But then the scavenger hunt time, because you can see like the split times on the scavenger hunt time, I had the fastest time by like 20 minutes. So I destroyed the competition in the scavenger hunt because I knew where everything was. But the 5K, my time was too far behind what those first 10 people were, that I just didn't get the chance to win it. But I had the chance. I think I have the chance now that it's coming through. Let's see here. Maybe the voice of Google now. I don't know about that. Let's see here. Minnie and Mickey are my favorites for sure. Aren't those medals amazing? I think the medals that came out this year are just unbelievable. It needs to be called the Hercules Challenge. That is an insane amount of running. So impressed. So the Dopey Challenge. Do you guys want to hear a fun story about the Dopey Challenge and how it came about? The Dopey Challenge did not start off as the Dopey Challenge. It was, I want to say it was 2011. ish, maybe it was 2012. It was when I was living down here. So they started off with the marathon. The marathon's been going on for 29 years, I think now. And then it was like 4 or 5 years later on, they brought in the half marathon, and then they brought in the 5K like literally like 10 years later. And then about 10 years after that, they brought in the 10K. Well, when they brought in the 10K, the Goofy's Race and a Half Challenge thing had been a thing for about, it was 15 years 2 years ago. So it's 17 years now. And people would run the 5K, and then they would go the next day and do but there was no challenge for doing all three. It was just, because like if you go to any of the other weekends, the fairy tale challenge for the princess race is just doing the 10K and the half and not the 5K. 5K is just a bonus if you want to do it. So when they added the 10K, there were people who signed up for all 4 races, and then the fans started saying it was the dopey challenge if you did all 4. And Disney liked the idea so much that the next year they actually made the dopey challenge as all 4 races. So that's how it came about. The something special was the Mickey Mouse ears. Oh, fabulous, darling. What food was being given out during the full? There were 2 banana spots. Yeah, 2 banana stops where you can grab bananas. I'm not a big banana person, but I think I had 4 bananas on the course. They also had like the little energy like chewy things, not the goo, but it was like a fruit pack. It's pretty good. And then around mile like 22, they always give out chocolate, which I love. So I grabbed 3 things of chocolate and I ate all of it. But yeah, they give you food during the course because that way you need the energy. So they give you food during the course. I also ran with Red Vines, aka like Twizzlers, but the Red Vine brand because I like it better. I ran with those in my pocket, and so every now and then when I was getting hungry, I would just throw one in there and get a little bit of sugar rush too. SUGAR, tell me, now, sugar rush. How far ahead of you are first place? Wait, what? How far ahead is first place for me? If I didn't stop for the characters during the full, I probably would have shaved about 45 minutes off my time, maybe even longer, maybe an hour. It could have been an hour. I ended up with like a 6:45. I think it was 6:45 or 6:48 for the full marathon, which is, I mean, as long as you finish, that's my theory. And yeah, so the first place destroyed me. Hey Girl was in first place for all 4 races. Yes. So my friend, if you guys have seen my Instagram, every now and then I'll promote my friend, Shauna, Sunshine Baking Princess. She works with the girl who got first place. She works with that girl's husband, or she's friends with that girl's husband, something like that. He's also a baker, so the 2 of them know each other. So she sent me like all these articles at like 1 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to sleep. She sent it to me right before the full, saying, "Hey, look at this! I know this person," which was really exciting. It was the first time ever in the history of Run Disney or Dopey Weekend that the same person got first place on all 4 races. So really huge props to her. Huge props to her. Yeah, props to all the taking her. I almost died during the Castaway Key 5K. Eric, that was being there for you to do that was unbelievable. That was unbelievable to watch you and Kenny finish that thing. We still have the bib right over here in honor of Kenny. That chocolate is always heaven. Yes, it is. It was. What's the brand of chocolate that my brother likes and I don't like that much? The Three Musketeers. 3 Musketeers. Is it 3 Musketeers the green one? The green logo. I think it's the green logo. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's the best chocolate in the world at that point in your life. It's not my favorite candy bar. My brother Justin really likes it though. I just don't understand the point of doing it if you're not going to interact with characters. Not worth passing that up for the win. Well, there's some people who. So my so my friend Daniel, who's ahead of me, I think he stopped for 2 characters during the full. I think he said. And then my friends Frank and Timothy, who started behind me, they did not stop for any characters at all because they were more concerned about finishing than anything else like that. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, he was running a whole workshop. Essentially, yeah. Oh, wait. Green logo is Milky Way. Yeah, so it's Milky Way was the thing. Not before we start wrapping up, because I'm enjoying our conversation here. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to throw it in there. We're gonna check the subscriber count because we've been doing this every week now, and I always find it fun. We're 2 subscribers away from 1,350. So if you guys can get that in the next few minutes, we'll maybe we'll go on for a few more minutes here. Any last minute questions though, in case we do wrap up right now? I drink some. I'm a walker, so never had the luxury of stopping for characters. Totally understandable. And that was my Frank and Timothy, who are behind me. Timothy, he's 19, and this was his first marathon ever. His body went to shock, which I don't blame it for going that far. They really just took their time because they just wanted to have it so he could finish his first marathon ever. My first marathon ever, I went through the same thing. I ran with my dad in 2007 at the Walt Disney World Marathon. I think it was 2007. Pretty sure it was 7. But my body was like, what are you doing to me right now? I miss the Disneyland races too. I was perfect at Disneyland for Star Wars and for Avengers. And when they cut those ones, I was so mad because that was my favorite thing ever. What's the board game on the floor behind the couch on Spaceship Earth in the 60s? That would be Mousetrap. Come on. Give me a hard one next time, Lauren. Lauren throws me Disney trivia quite often, hoping that she's going to stump me one of these days. That is definitely Mousetrap. That's on the floor behind the couch on the Spaceship Earth scene in the 60s decade. Okay. I miss Disneyland races too. I really do. I loved that Avengers race was one of my favorite races ever that Disney's ever done. You got to run through Angel Stadium, which was so cool. And that's actually where my personal record for a half marathon was on that course. I've gotten close to beating it here, but I've never beat it here. Over there, it's you need to post a picture of all your display medals. Right now, my medals are kind of scattered around. I have to get them back up on the wall. I need another rack because they don't all fit on the wall right now. There's a lot more. What was the board game you bought today? Let me grab it. It's still in the bag here. Let's see here. Oh, that's a wall. A visit to the Walt Disney World, or visit to Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom Park, a game that's a world of fun. So this is a game that came out back in the 1970s when Walt Disney World first opened up, and they just redid it this year. So yeah, they got 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in here. They got a lot of things in here, but no Big Thunder, no Space Mountain. Oh, look, there's Contemporaries right there. That's really cool. I'm excited to play it. I've got a. I like Disney board games. This is one that I got for Christmas. 5-Second Rule Disney Edition. Did you ever get stumped? I do. Okay, so Lauren sends me things. Lauren's one of my Patreon pals. So is Paige. Say hi, guys. If you're not a Patreon pal, send me a message. I'll send you a link on how to become a Patreon pal later on. But Lauren will send me things on Instagram. She'll find these like fun find videos, and she's like, "Did you know this one?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, here's an article I wrote about it like 8 years ago. But when I was telling her that when I did the Adventures by Disney trip over in Disneyland, the one guide, her name was Summer Rose. It was Summer Rose and Christian were our two guides. But Summer Rose, when she found out that I had written books about Disney, she was like, "Oh, my one goal this whole trip is to teach you something new about Disneyland that you've never known before." And she would come up to me and be like, "Do you know what that is?" And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's this." She's like, "Oh." And she told me one thing, and I was like, "What? That's so cool. I never knew that." And she was freaking out that she taught me something new. And I love when people find trivia that does stump me because I like to learn new things. So, nerd. All right, let's. He put them all on one time. It was great. I did. That was painful for the neck. Wait, you want to play the 5 second? Here, let's do the 5 second rule because I've only played with my niece over FaceTime, and I don't think she fully understood what we're doing. Because you have 5 seconds to answer. So you have 5 second card. Here, tell me, pick a number between 1 and 10, and we'll go back one of those spots. 1 and 10. And we'll go 10 cards in, or however, whatever your number is. 2. Okay, so we're going to 2 cards in. So this is going to be the card that we're going to use. I've not seen this before. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait. Name 3 items from the youth seminar in Seoul. Ooh, that stunned me. I've only seen Seoul twice. Name 3 Disney characters who are fish. Flounder, Nemo, Dory. That was a little easier. Is one color easier than the other? All right, let's go. Name 3 things Mickey Mouse says a lot. Oh boy, hiya pal. See you real soon. Okay. Name 3 Disney characters who pretended to be someone else. Aladdin, Ursula, and Genie. Right? What's on the other side? Oh, that was the other side. Okay, let's. What'd you do last night? I watched Brent online just read things to himself and try to. Okay, name 3 Disney characters that are queens. Queen of Hearts, the Queen from and the Sarabi, the Queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Sarabi. The other side. Name 3 characters from Up. That'd be Doug, Russell, Carl Fredricksen. Oh, come on. Easy. Got any brother questions in there since you killed it off? Let's see, maybe this one. Name 3 Disney characters that are kings. That'd be Mufasa, eventually Simba, and then the Sultan, or King Triton. Name 3 of your favorite Pixar movies. Up, Toy Story 3, and Finding Nemo. That's a lot easier. Like, wait. Justice for Brother Bear. I'll never hear the end of the Brother Bear. Name 3 Disney movies with the character's name in the title. Cinderella, Pinocchio, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Name 3 Disney or Pixar dragon characters. Elliot. I'm drawing a blank there. Maleficent, Figment. Okay. Let's see. Give you guys a few minutes there. Mushu. Mushu's a good one. Oh. Did we hit the 1350? We didn't hit the 1350. That's okay because we went up a total of 40. We've gone up a total of 45 subscribers since last week, which is awesome. Okay, let's we're gonna wrap up our show right here. As always, tonight's show is sponsored by It's All About the Mouse Travel. Ooh. Make sure, as always, what do I always say? I always say the same thing. I've been saying the same thing for years. Tonight's show is sponsored by It's All About the Mouse Travel. Make sure you stop by It's All About the Mouse Travel.com for all of your Disney travel needs. All of their services are absolutely, positively, 100% free. So make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. And we can also put this one up here too. Be like, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you everyone out there for joining us once again this week. Please keep on spreading the word about the Wednesday show and From Screen to Theme, and invite anyone and everyone to join the group right here on Facebook, or if you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button. Send the videos to people every single day. We are going to have new videos every single day. We're going to do at least 2 more days. I might take a break after 100 videos because in 2 days it'll be 100 days straight of brand new videos, but who knows? At the same time, I might keep on going. No, that'll be as soon as the Festival of the Arts starts, which is this coming up week. And of course, as always, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Are they gone? Are they gone? Oh, good. My cheeks are just killing me. I just can't stand this kind of pressure. Jiminy